Hello everyone, Luke here. Now I know I said that chapters 163 and 164 will be coming tomorrow, but since I've got time before I have to go to work and I have to go to my auditions tonight, I figured I might as well just get all three chapters done right here, right now. Hopefully, hopefully we'll get them done. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into the reviews. Alright, so this will be chapter 162, titled Game to Steal the Throne. Now, obviously, this is a reference to the fact that Peter wants to actually get his hands on the throne and actually basically become the king of the demon world himself, and obviously suppress everyone below him because he feels like he's this almighty God character who thinks he can do no wrong. So that's obviously a reference to the I believe that's the case. But anyway, we start off the chapter 162, with a colour page, which further emphasises this because you have Peter just front and centre, and you then just have an army, like basically a mountain of demons, just like right behind him, and just being like. Just being like, yes, even if you get rid of me, there's still this mountain to climb, guys. As the caption goes, "Oh, eternal children, fight back against the despair." But obviously, given how smart Peter is and how tactful he is, that's going to be a huge mountain to climb. In my opinion, I feel like he's more tactful than Isabella was. Speaking of Isabella, we find out something at the end of the chapter. Alright, so the chapter really gets going when we see, after the whole destruction of the whole royal family and the 5 regiment house lords and demons and that, we see like the aftermath of the battles. We see like demon soldiers just like rallying everyone together to get everyone under control. As we see Sonju and Musica on their horse going towards what is perceived to be a temple, as Sonju goes on to say, "It's been pushed to the outskirts of the capital and downsized as time went on. Long ago, those who could convey our gods' voices oversaw it, appointed the king of any free generation, and helped to govern our citizens." Okay, so I guess at some point during that time, the demon queen, like legendarily, that demon queen basically was like, right, we have no need for this, so you can basically just get rid of it because this is my world now. Who cares about God? It's all down to me. And I feel like that's probably why it's sort of like downsized over the years. The fact that because the queen probably didn't believe in the fact of having this overarching God when she could actually be the god or goddess of the demon world herself, she felt like there was no need for it, and so was just like, yeah, let's just get rid of it, put it out the outskirts. It'll be kind of like a stain that we just can't get rid of on this world. Sonju goes on to say that and so they supported the hearts of the people because my father and this nobility, our faith, was distorted. The temple lost their power as well. Alright, so it wasn't the queen, because my father and alright, so it wasn't the queen, it was actually his father. It's actually Sonju's father that was basically saying like, we're not really interested in having that anymore. So you kind of just like brush it to the side whilst we're gonna kind of take control and be rulers of this world and not some demon god that we all have to praise ourselves to. Now, also, guys, I apologise that my throat is a little bit croaky. I've come down with a little bit of something, but I'm here now doing these because I love it. I love you guys, and I love talking about this series. But once again, I apologise for my throat's being a little bit croaky, but that's not going to stop me from doing these reviews. Sonju carries on and says that, and even now there still remain citizens who pay their respects to the temple. Obviously, that's obviously going to be the case because even in the real world, even if people are just like, yeah, I'm not really interested in having that religion kind of in my life, there are still people who still go to it and pray to it and worship the gods. And also, he says, above all else, the high priests and 4 wise men, they were such fine people. They truly dedicated themselves to the citizens. Which Musica concludes that is probably his teacher. If you remember, Sonju had a mentor who was kind of like pushed to the side, and this was probably what caused Songjun to kind of be turned off by his family and basically just leave himself and be an outcast. So from what I can gather here, he's kind of like going to like get that society back to the way it was, to the way that he feels like it's the most deserving and not being like under the tyrannical grip of a royal family. Songjun carries on and explains that after the promise was forged, the high priest allowed the people to violate our doctrine. It was so that they could protect their lives, but to atone for that, he observed the faith of his on his own. He continued to pray for the well-being of the people, and it's because of him that the people can eat cultivated human meat. And thanks to the sacrifice and prayers of the high priest and his followers, they quelled the anger of our God. Okay, so from what I'm understanding here, it's kind of like yeah, it's kind of like a backside. I'm just trying to make sense of all this myself here, because it's a little bit confusing for me. Because from what I could see, it was like, okay, they didn't want the high priest. They didn't want the king and queen and all the five royal houses being in charge of this world, and so they kind of prayed to the god in secret, but. Because of that, and basically prayed to God in secret and not following the rules of the promise, that's probably what he's getting across here, Songjun, is that because they went against what the promise was made, that quailed the anger of the gods. So basically, them praying in secret and having their religion in secret is what challenged the anger of the god. But anyway, they continue on as they find all the priests, like, basically as stone statue, like, basically just like that in suspended animation, sort of similar to how the statues are in Doctor Stone, how they're petrified, but they'll still be in the position of what they were doing before they were petrified. So it's kind of like they're just statues that are just in hibernation and still in praying to this almighty God, even though this is kind of what the God didn't want, and it's kind of going against what the promise was actually made for. As Songjun and Musica are looking at the corpses, or as Musica puts it, puppets, no corpses. Songjun says that they are the high priests and four wise men, and he confirms that they're still alive. Which Musica raises the million-dollar question that if they haven't eaten human meat, it's been 1,000 years, how could they still be alive? And Songjun explains quite simply, it's near death and basically they were holding their breath. That's what he's saying here, and he's like, I don't know how exactly they went about it, but while still alive, they completely stopped their body's circular divisions and metabolic process. Okay, so they basically like just held their breath. Just from what I can understand, it's basically like, okay, they just were like that, and from what I can determine from like the body structure of these dudes, like they basically channeled all their power into their brain, like all their cellular reproduction into the brain to be like, keep us in this state, keep us in this state, keep us in this state, and it made their bodies sort of like wither away, but actually kept their brains intact. That's probably what is kind of going on here, as Songjun goes on, as Musica goes on to say, that's not something anyone could do, and Songjun goes on to say, yeah, and they're still praying to this day for the sake of their people. As we get a flashback from Songjun's perspective about when he was younger and how he looks up to this high priest and sort of like aspired to be just like them, like because they were his mentor figures, and he's kind of like just seeing them in this like withering state, and it's being like, you shouldn't be like this. You need to be yourself, and you need to get out there more, and you need to kind of like just and kind of like just get back in the frame that you've been in this state for so long that you actually need to be brought out of this state and be able to basically be yourself again. As Musica goes on to say, then your idea is, as Songjun confirms, that to revive the high priests and four wise men with our blood, and after that make the high priest king. Okay, so he's basically gonna go back to how it was back in the beginning, where they were basically a religion and sort of like sacrificed or prayed to this almighty God, rather than being under the radical tyranny of a demon king, queen, and royal family. Songjun carries on and explains that because the monarchy has collapsed, the only one who can calm the chaos, bring the people together and guide them is the high priest. And again, that makes sense. Like, you would need someone of like a higher stature to kind of like lead everyone and guide them into this new age and this new world that they're all going to be living under. As Musica smiles and says, "So we better hurry up before news of the Queen and Regiment House is dying gets out." And of course, we all know it's gonna get out before they actually have a chance to get out. You've seen the next two chances. You know that shit is just gonna hit the fan right now, and it's all gonna just go pew boom for all the heroes of this story. As Musica goes on to say, "We promised Emma we're not gonna let anyone else die." Yeah, say that people are gonna die. And we won't let riots or war erupt, which of course they are. Before we get well ... As we see an owl just observing everything and seeing like the demon queen, like she was in her monstrous form and now she's just like melting away. We see the owl who is kind of like the sort of like the in between. So it's like has basically eyes that see everything, and it's basically sort of like Laserbeak from Transformers, how he will actually observe things, then report back to Megatron and be like, "Okay, fine, I've got it." It's sort of like that kind of relationship that the owls have with the demons and with the Vitari clan in of itself. As it goes on, as the other demons find out, there is a follow-up report regarding the attack of the royal family. And the other demon, like, this is basically being broadcast as a news report to everyone, not just the demons in the royal capital, but also the demons that have captured the kids. As we see some of the kids that are tied up and being escorted back to Gracefield House by the demons. We see this news report going on to say there's a follow-up report regarding the attack of the royal capital. The Queen has met her end. As we see Peter Vittori just giving like that, "Can't believe they actually did it." The Regiment House and their families are most likely dead as well. At first, it just seemed like a revolt by rebels aimed at the Teferi, but disregarding that, we've appeared to confirm the presence of the two evil blooded as well. Not the ex-blood, the two evil bloods as well as our cameras pick up human children and others leaving the castle separately. And we get as we hear the end of this news report, we get Peter going, children, it's the cattle. As we get him like thinking like, oh my god, now that they're leaving, we can actually devise a plan to capture them as well. But not only that, Peter starts to think back on what Nate actually told him when he was questioning what happened to the others. When he goes, "They're not here. 22194, 81194, 63194, and others. Where did they go? They're dead. They died." He's like shaking his fist, like, so they really are alive. Like, that little bastard actually lied to me. As he goes, and the other followers of Peter Vittori are like, "But for them to attack the capital, that's impossible. She's the Queen, right? Those cattle, for them to kill them." And they're basically like, I believe like they're shaking at this point as well as sweating balls. Like, oh my god, if they actually did that, what's to stop them from actually succeeding at this plan, even though it seems impossible? Because the Queen was an actual worthy opponent in the end. It actually took a lot, more so than Lewis, to actually take her down, because even when they thought they'd taken her down, that wasn't the end of her, and she basically came back bigger and stronger than ever before. And the only way that she actually was able to be taken down was basically overeating, basically. Like, they could not actually defeat the Queen in one-on-one combat. Like, she basically did herself in by overindulging in herself. As Peter's followers are basically panicking and getting frustrated, he goes, "Don't get frustrated. Rather, it should be the contrary. Why don't we make full use of this opportunity?" As we see, like, just, I love, like, the shadows that they make of him. Like, he's just got, like his body is in light, but also his face is almost in pure darkness, showing like just how pure, like a representation of how pure evil he is, and how much he's praising. Like, "Thank you for this. You've given me the perfect opportunity to basically do whatever I want, basically, with this world." As he goes on to say, "Hurry and find the others right away. This is revenge for the Queen and the 5 regiment families. The nobility is dead. That's perfect. We'll be taking the throne as we get just like him basically being a puppet master. Like we get this awesome panel of Peter being this puppet master, just being like, and from now on we'll be the ones who medicate and control this world. So basically that was Peter's plan all along, even though they made a pact with the demons, and his family are basically being like, right, you've got to mitigate this promise from now until the end of time. He's basically like, great, now that the Queen said, I can basically take over this world and forge a new promise of my own, and basically get the chance to do whatever I want, and basically just get rid of these, and basically just be like the puppet master, controlling not just the humans but the demons as well. As he states to his men, order all dispatch troops and search parties to return immediately. His men question about what they should do about 22194, which is obviously Norman, and he's like, there's no need. They already know our destination. I'm fine waiting. They'll all definitely come to save their friends. They will never abandon them. And yeah, that is true. That's basically what they'll do. So he's basically playing the long game here. It's like, we won't find them. We'll let them find us, and then we can basically just surround them and capture them with a snap of our fingers. So I've got to give it to Peter. Like, he's playing it very tactfully. Like, his strategy is just like sitting back and letting them have their little adventure. But like when they and kind of like basing them in by having hostages, because he knows that, because he's aware of like how close knit tied this family is, that he would not let them. He would think like, they're not going to let them be captured, so they're going to come to us. So might as well just sit back, wait, and see what they're going to do. And if they do come to us, then that's great. And if not, then they let their friends die, and they feel even more guilty, and we just capture them then anyway. So either way, whether they come and save them and they don't come and save them, it's a win-win for him anyway. As we get a flashback from James Rotari saying, let's put an end to this Neverland, Peter's just there like, bring it on, Cato, you eternal children. You can't end this Neverland. Let's sell this as Gracefield House. And as we return to Gracefield House, as we return to the entrance, to the gateway that leads into Gracefield House, we see all the kids that are just tied up, including Toma Limey, Nate, Anna, Jemima, and some of the others, as to go, Gracefield House, to think we would return like this, and yeah, to think he would return like this as captured cattle who are basically, in Peter's eyes, not going to get out of this. And although you might not get out of this, because some of you might not make it out of this final encounter in the series before you actually get into the human world, we see the gate opening up as Peter is just standing there, and the build up to this moment is fantastic, as we see just like layers, like we see somebody's like at the bottom half of their dress as the gate goes up, and then we see Peter's face, and then we see more of the dress, so that we get up to the hip area, the torso area, and then we don't see their face right away until like basically the final panel of the chapter, as Peter goes, thank you for meeting with me. It's been quite a while. And we just see the shock of just like most of the Gracefield kids as we hear him go, it's been quite a while, Grandma Isabella. Yes, Isabella is back in the series. Like, so that confirms one question. Yes, she did survive. She wasn't killed off, which that was kind of like really debatable for, God, it must, when did they skip? It's been like nearly 3 years since we've seen Isabella like properly in the storyline. I mean, we've seen little glimpses of her here and there, but like this is properly where the first time in like 3 years she's actually been factored into the story, as all the other kids are just looking on in shock and horror as they go, Mama. But here's the interesting thing: she's now a grandma. So what happened to the previous grandma, which has been confirmed to be Sarah? Like the previous grandma, that was the grandma when she was a little kid in Gracefield House herself. What has happened to her? How did Isabella get to be a grandma? Like, what did she do? That, like, one question has been answered, so many others have been opened, but that's the end of chapter 162. So it was a better chapter than the last one. It kind of gave us a setup for what Peter's ultimate goal is actually to be, and how he's going to instigate it and bring it to the forefront. But most of all, it's fair because we finally got the answer to one of the most lingering questions in the series: what happened to Isabella? Which has just opened up a whole other can of worms, and we don't know where this is going to go. But for now, let's move on to chapter 163. Alright, so this is chapter 163, Tower Reversal. Now, just want to say something before we get into the chapter, is that from now on, from what I can remember, this was the chapter that actually paved the way for like what's happening with chapters from now on, because we're going off the official manga translations, like the official Viz manga translations, and I got my app and I got my membership, so I'm going off the original Viz manga translations. I have paid for it, so I'm basically supporting the official release this time. We're still going to get the reviews, but they're going to come out. They come out on Sunday, so hopefully during the week I'll be able to do the review, do the reviews as normal. It's just that they won't be coming out on like Thursday or Friday. They might come out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They'll come out whenever they come out, basically. But for now, let's get into it. So this is chapter 163, Time Reversal, and it's obviously a reference to reversing the status of the High Priest and trying to get him back into the forefront to be the king of the demon world. Alright, so the chapter starts off back at the royal capital, where we have Songju and Musica trying to revive the queen, the High Priest, and get the reversal in process, as Musica is thinking that we won't let anyone else die, we won't kindle the fire of hate. Before everyone finds out about the death of the queen, we'll install a new king, we'll revive the High Priest and the 4 sages with our blood, and yeah, even though you are going to do that, people have already found out, Musica, so yeah, you're kind of screwed in that regard. As Songju and Musica get to work and they proceed to revive the High Priest, he's like in a state of confusion because as his body kind of like goes back into the way it was, it's kind of, where is this? Why have I? And he's like, and Musica's like, it works, and we see Songju looking really happy as well. It's been a while, Your Excellency, as he looks to Songju, he's like, you are Songju, and he just thinks back to like chibi little Songju, which by the way is pretty kawaii, basically. Chibi little Songju. When he goes before the High Priest goes, you gave me your blood. How much did you sacrifice to revive me? What has happened? And Songju is like, even though he kind of like wants to explain it, it's kind of like being like, I've done something terrible to make this happen, but I kind of like wanted you to come back. And he's like, I'll explain. Please give us your assistance. As and as Songju's explaining everything to the High Priest goes on to say, unbelievable. The Queen and the 5 regiment houses have died. As Songju goes on to say, they got what they deserve for going against the truth, and yeah, they kind of got what they deserve, basically. Not for just going against the truth, but also for what they were kind of doing to everyone, including their own people. As the High Priest looks at Songju and looks at how depressed he is, he goes on to say, however, it's unfortunate that they had to be ruined, that they had to be killed. We couldn't do anything 1,000 years ago and caused you to suffer as well, Songju. I apologise. So he probably feels a little. He does feel guilty for what happened, and he could have actually prevented from all of this happening, but instead it kind of went into a spiral out of chaos, and there was nothing he could do about it, and he kind of like had to abandon Songju, and he feels like guilty for doing that because he should have protected him as his mentor figure. Before Songju goes on to say, Your Excellency, and the High Priest says, what we feared has happened. A distortion once created will always return. At first it may be small, but it accumulates, and eventually the world cannot take it and collapses. I knew this day would come, as we see just like the humans just like overcoming the demons and basically just blowing up the royal capital and deciding triumphant over the demons, which is something they don't want. So they kind of like want the demons to be in charge of this world and not have the humans suppressing them, just like they were probably doing back 1,000 years ago. The High Priest continues to go on and says, but it was necessary. That's why someone like you was born. The gods had a way to live. Don't you agree, girl with the special blood? Again, going back to the method that Musica is demon Jesus. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if she was actually just born from the god herself, like she's the daughter of the god of this demon world. But this is just hammering in again and again and again that she is like that she's like the demon Jesus. Like, take my blood, drink it in remembrance of me. So it's something like that. I can't be the only one who's seeing like the religious symbolism of Musica, like this child that came out of nowhere, but with her blood is able to cure the diseases of her race, basically. So, yeah, she is basically Demon Jesus. Again, I've got to bring it up because it's just been hammering in time and time again that is the case. The High Priest goes on to thank both of them for surviving for 700 years and for Songju for protecting her. As he says, we're all being tested whether we can change or not. No, as I believe Songju says this. We are all being tested whether or not we can change or not. As the High Priest goes on to say, I understand. I shall help you in any way I can. And Songju's like, okay, we'll revive the other four. But as he says that, he hears like this buzzing sound, like this, and they're all like, what's going on? And then we come to outside the royal capital, like basically in that royal square where the Typhoon was going on. We have one demon who's relaying the message that Her Majesty the Queen has passed, basically has been killed. As the demon's like, wait, what? Killed by bandit? And no, the demon that's relaying this message goes on to say, killed by bandits who took advantage of the confusion of this town. They even killed the lords and ladies of the 5 regiment houses. But don't worry, henceforth the 4 great farms and the vassal armies of the 5 reginal houses will govern under an assembled council. I will hereby read the proclamation. And Songju, Musica, and the High Priest just outside, like just in a corner, like listening in, and they're like just like in shock and awe that this has just happened, like that, like before they could even have a chance to like get the High Priest in as the new king of the world. There's already something being put in place to actually prevent them from doing that, and he's like, it's too quick. Not just the confirmation of the Queen and Aristocat's death, the announcement too, as well as the proclamation of the establishment of a new government. It's only been a day, and the usual scattered remaining factions are all in agreement without arguing. What is going on here? As we see just Peter Vitari in the centre of just like these demons, which is probably a reference to the fact that this is probably what happened. Like he got them all under control. It's like, okay, we'll have to like come to an agreement, like set up a council that governs over the world at this point. And then obviously in the back of his mind, it's like, if I'm the head of that council, that means I control this world. So that's probably the idea of what happened, and that basically just happened within a day without question. As all the other demons are like, who are the bandits? Where are they now? Like just trying to get as many answers as they can. And the demon who's just like announcing everything is like, quiet, we have already identified the culprits, the bandits who killed Her Majesty and the aristocrats and threw this town into this destruction and confusion are the banished traitors, the Gielan clan, and the male-female duel known as the Evil Blooded. As we see like a scroll that he's holding that has basically a wanted poster for Songju and Musica on them, as they're like in shock, like, oh my god, what? And those two, and the 2 demons that were basically saved by Songju and Musica, like the 2 little kids, are like, wait, aren't those 2 the ones who helped us? And a lot of other demons are like going against this. They're like, hey, soldier, that's not right. Yeah, hear us out. They were, as they're probably trying to say, like, hey, this isn't right. They actually saved us. They actually prevented us from mutating. They actually brought us back to our form. So they're not the culprits here. They're innocent. They actually helped us. So what's going on here? As other demons who are under like the basically the governing demon at this point are like, we kindly ask for your cooperation. Those who show the bandits or receive their blood, please come this way. As we see just like everyone that received Musica's blood and Soldier's blood just getting shut in a cage like wild animals, or basically in this case like the humans, basically being shut in a cage. And they're like, what's going on here? What is this all about? Hey, come on, let us out. As the governing demon's like, you're all contaminated with harmful blood. Therefore, we must isolate and dispose of you. So he's basically treating them as like, okay, you've got a virus in you, so we have to like get rid of you right away before all of us get contaminated as well. So yeah, needless to say, the good demons are kind of screwed. As one of the demons is just like crying out and like, let us out. The kids who are the kids of these demons, of this demon that's actually just going like, what? Are like, Dad, Mum, but before they can do anything, they're just grabbed away by two other demons, and like, let us go, let us go, we've got to save our mum and dad, and they're like, don't struggle, you both drank the blood too. If they find out, you'll also be captured. You do not want that. And this kind of like actually gets them like calming down. It's like, okay, if we get captured, then there's nothing we can do about this whole situation. Even though we want to save our mum and dad, we kind of have to think about ourselves at this moment in time, because if we die, then this will all be for naught. As the other demons go, we must retaliate. No. Okay, so this is kind of confusing because you've got these demons who are like who are like trying to grab the kids away and see like, shh, don't say anything, otherwise you'll be captured. But then we've got these other demons who are like, we must retaliate, kill the bandits, but they all look exactly the same. So that's kind of like confusing here. Okay, so as the kids are being sent off to a safe place, one other demon's like, we must retaliate, kill the bandits, capture any of the contaminated that tried to run away. Don't forget the enemy. Don't forgive the enemy. Don't forgive the attack on Her Majesty, the aristocrats, and us. We shall punish them with death. And at this point, Sonju is just running away, and as he's running away, he's just got his thoughts in his head, because his thoughts are just like all over the place at this point, because he thought it was going to be that much more simple, but in fact it's actually just turned into complete chaos, which is something that he did not want to happen. As he's like, damn it, this is terrible. We're suddenly enemies of the kingdom. It's true that this blood will get in the way of the farms and those who are in charge of running the civilians. Even though we saved them, we saved all of them. We saved them because all be killed. Because we saved them, they'll all be killed, just like the last time. Okay, so this is Musica relaying this like it's her thoughts of like, because we saved them, they'll all be killed just like last time. So she probably thought like, this is not going to happen the last time. I'm going to make a better world, but instead it's kind of just been history repeating itself, and this just makes her even more frustrated. As we cut back to Sonju, who's going, damn it, now nothing will be different from the terrible world we had before. It was starting to change. We had a chance, as we see just like Emma, Ray and Norman just in there, as Sonju's like, we had a chance, and it's just like going all to dust, as we see Peter Rattay just like in this like sort of like chessboard game. I believe he's sort of like playing Othello, like the board game Othello, or he could be playing Chinese Shakespeare. I'm not sure what board game he's playing, but I think it's supposed to be Othello, and he's kind of like being like the manipulator, just moving the pieces where he wants them to go so that he can be the dominant species and the dominant ruler of this world. Sonju continues to think, and it's like, what do I do? There's no time to think. We can't be found. At this rate, His Excellency will be disposed of as one of the evil-blooded. We need time to hide for now and then. But before he can do anything, Musica just collapses below his feet, as he concludes that it's because she used too much blood in reviving His Excellency, and His Excellency just woke up from thousands of years in sleep. Before they can even think of anything else, they are completely surrounded, and the other demons are like, we found you, you bandits, how dare you attack your town, we'll kill you for that. And as Sonju is preparing to just like be like, screw this, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna fight, even though he's kind of like debating whether or not he should do it, because it's like, they're civilians, do I kill them? No, but I have at least have to save Musica and His Excellence. So kind of like, even though he doesn't want to, he's like, okay, screw this, if I have to kill them, so be it, I've got to get these two out of here. And he tries to fight them off, but because he's exhausted so much energy, he's easily overwhelmed, more so than probably what he would have been able to do, as like, Sonju, Musica were arresting you for attempting to overthrow the government, and that's where the chapter ends. So, okay, this chapter ended on quite a high note where everything is just going completely to shit, and it's only going to get that much worse for the humans when we move into the next chapter, which we'll be doing right now, because next chapter, oh boy, we see just how brutal Peter Rattay can be. Alright, so this is chapter 164, titled The Smiling Devil. Obviously a reference to Peter Rattay, because it just has that devilish persona about him, while also keeping that cool, calm, but collective evil grin like that. So that's basically what the reference is, and we get another cover page which shows all the characters who haven't been captured basically rallying themselves and getting ready to battle against Peter Rattay and his forces. Okay, we continue on from the ending of the last chapter, where we have Sonju and Musica being arrested for attempting to overthrow the government, as we see them just being like pinned to the ground with these spears, like just beneath the head, like, you move one step and we're gonna kill you, as the other demons are looking on just like in dismay that the evil bloods, as they call them, have actually been captured for the first time in 700 years. And they're like, we've captured the bandits. We're not done. Find the contaminated. Don't let the evil blooded get away. As we see the two demons who were like getting the other kids to safety, which from what I can understand is that they're probably going to be the impetus now for actually saving the other demons and getting them out of here, because they're from what happens in the chapter, they don't get captured, so they're going to still have the evil blood in them, so there may still be a chance for the demons that are actually innocent to actually get out of this situation alive. As we see a demon in black approach the group, he says, "Hey, you there, who are these kids? You both oversaw the central square, correct? Could these kids be the evil-blooded?" As the kids are just like getting like, we're like, are they going to rat us out? Are they actually on our side here? And of course, like I said just now before, they go, the other two demons who actually properly rescued them and said, no, these children are simply lost. They are unrelated to the evil blood. We were there and we could confirm that fact. And obviously because they were there, they can get away with lying about all of this happening. As the black demon goes, I see. Orders are to segregate all those with contaminated blood. Make sure you don't let anyone get away. As they're like, yes, sir. And as they see the demon dressed in black just going away, they're like, I can't believe we got through that without him finding out. And they're like, yeah, I agree. So like they kind of have that moment like, oh, that was a close one. As they go on to say, yeah, they can't be here, but what can we do? Contaminated blood. We were lied to all this time. The evil-blooded clan, they were rebels who used their toxics and diseases, including blood, to revolt against the royal family. That's what we were told all this time. But in reality, as we get a flashback of going, if you drink this blood, the blood was able to restore those who are degenerated. No, even more than that. According to witnesses, they offered their blood to citizens who hadn't degenerated to prevent them from doing so. Does this mean the evil-blooded is a remedy for degeneration, and all you have to do is drink it? As we see Musica giving out blood and going, don't worry, drinking this will return everyone to normal and you will never degenerate again. Okay, so from what I can understand is that these two demons, even though they're perceived to be like royal soldiers of the royal family and kind of like following orders, they kind of saw the bigger picture and saw like, hang on, we've been lied to all this time. They told us that they were a disease and we needed to get rid of them, when in fact they were actually helping us. So wait, what's going on here? So they wanted to keep this blood away from us so that they could keep us under our control, and they were like, yeah, we're not going to let them do that. So that's kind of like, I honestly like these two demons, like, even though we don't know their names, like these two adult demons that save the kids. I honestly like them now because they were able to see like the cracks in the system, kind of like how Smoker in One Piece saw the cracks in the world government and Garpa see the cracks in the world government, and they're kind of like, we're not gonna stand for that. We're gonna like take matters into our own hands. Like, okay, these two kids who have obviously drank the blood, we're gonna get them out of here and pretend that they haven't drank the blood to get them to safety, because they are our only chance at this point, because everyone else has been captured. And I love that about them. Like, they've actually seen the cracks in the system and been exposed to the proper truth from actual experience themselves. And maybe they actually drank the blood themselves. That's probably why they're like that, because they probably drank the blood themselves, so they're contaminated as well. Well, contaminated in the eyes of the demons that are in charge. So they're probably like, yeah, we're gonna get out of here before all hell breaks loose for all of us. The two demons continue to discuss the situation as they go on to say, so it's extraordinary blood. Then why were we lied to for 200 years and they're still being pursued? Because they're in the way. The evil-blooded gets in the way of the farm's desire to rule over us. The farms are not just suppressing of the humans, but they're also suppressing of regular demons, like just like the lower echelon of the royal family's army and regular demons. So that's so the evil blood in their eyes gets in the way of that. So it's like, well, if they only need this blood to like keep maintaining their regular form, then what's the point of the farms? And it's like, yeah, we're not gonna have that, so we'll have to get rid of them. And they kind of saw that, and it's like, if we don't have to eat human meat to prevent degeneration, the farms wouldn't have so much power. Hold it then. The Queen and the aristocrats use the farm to control us as they saw fit. And it's like, yeah, even though they're under orders from the royal council, that doesn't mean they don't have their own personalities and their own feelings. Like saying, hang on a minute, we're being controlled here just as much as these humans are being controlled here, and yeah, that's not right. And I can always see these two demons, as well as the kids, actually going and being allies to Emma and everyone, and actually finding them at Gracefield House and saying like, no, we know all about Peter Attari. We've been in his employment for so long. We know how he works and how the Attari clan works, so we can actually help you here. And it wouldn't be surprised to me if they actually did do that. If they actually were just like, yeah, screw this, we're gonna go and side with the humans, basically. And as they go on to say, even now the higher ups know and yet acted this way, just for the sake of their greed. Everyone was captured and will get. But before he can continue on, the little one of the I think it's the male demon. Because of the way they're structured, I can't really tell if they're male or female. But I believe it's supposed to be the boy demon who goes, "Sir, what's going?" Okay, yeah. No, I think they're supposed to both be girls. Sir, what's going to happen to Dad and Mum and the big brother and sister who helped us? As we see them just absolutely bawling their eyes out, like, we don't want anything bad to happen to them. So what is going to happen to them? Are they going to be killed? As we see the demons, like the adult demons, just like looking down on them and obviously sympathising with them and saying, "Why? For what? How cruel! It's wrong. They didn't do anything. They saved." No, I believe it's not the demon adult saying this. I believe it's still the kids that are going on and saying, "Why? For what? How cruel! It's wrong. They didn't do anything. They saved us. After everything, everyone was cured. But no, Dad, Mum, please help us, Mr. Soldier. Please help our parents and everyone else," as they're just there, just begging for their help now. Just like, please help me. And this actually gets me the idea of like, okay, they're actually going to go, even though it's not really a spoiler because their parents do actually die. Even though they're part of the royal family and they're part of the army of the demon army, they're probably going to go and help the humans out and kind of give them tips of how they can actually defeat Peter Attari and the other demons. I wouldn't be surprised if these 4 demons actually do that before we see Emma again. As they're still crying and the demons are just like shaking their weapons, like, I don't know what to do, like, screw it. And they ask the demon kids what's their names, as they go on to say Arlo and Marlo. Okay, so yeah, their names are Arla and Marla. So basically, Arlo's AWLA and Marla is basically AWLA with an M at the beginning. So that's not going to be confusing in the slightest. But anyway, continuing on, one of the demon soldiers goes, "Listen, Marlu, sorry, but we can't do anything. So let's at least help you two. It's the most we can do." And again, that's probably the smartest move from them at this point, because if they go and start saving the mom, dad, Sanju, and Musica, then the whole thing is ruined, and they'll just get captured and be killed just as much as they're going to be killed basically in the next couple of panels. Now, when I say killed, I mean the mom and dad, not Sanju and Musica, because we don't see Sanju and Musica for the remainder of this chapter after they were captured. So what's going to happen to them? Who knows? But bottom line is, we get basically a parallel of the beginning of this arc. So we had humans being tied down and executed by Peter Attari. Now we're having demons being treated the same way. So again, showing that there's really no difference between the humans and the demons, and there's like a grey area between them, and that just makes the world of the Promised Neverland that just much more fascinating and much more deeper layers, because you have different factions going against each other, and not just the humans but also the demons as well, and kind of like some humans and demons allying together and showing that, yes, even though they are more natural enemies, they can work together to make a better world, and that is being proven time and time again. And if they can actually get the evil blood or the Musica's blood out to all the demons, then they probably don't have a reason to kill the humans, and they probably all escape or something like that. That was probably part of the promise that Emma made. It's like, okay, you get the blood to all the demons so that us humans can actually go into the human world and basically leave you guys alone, basically. That's probably part of the promise that Emma made to the demon god himself. But anyway, we see the demons being tied up as we see I believe it's supposed to be the mother of the of Arlo and Marlu being tied up, and so like, damn it, why did we have to go through this? As the governing demon goes, your blood puts all citizens at risk, therefore we must dispose of you for the nation of our city. And as the mother and father are just like they're just resigning themselves to their fate, they go, Arlu, Marlu, gods, please let at least spare them, as they both hold hands and they're both executed together. So I would have liked to have seen more of them, because they're kind of demons that I would love to see more of in this world, like, because they were genuine good demons that could actually see the bigger picture. But even though we're not getting them, we've still got these two other soldier demons that for what I can understand, are basically going to be betraying the demons to fight alongside the rebelling humans. And now that if Emma's forces do actually get them on their side, then they will have a chance of actually getting through and making this impossible plan seem a little bit more possible. We cut back to Gracefield House on November 13th, 2047, which is 3 days after the whole capture of Sonju Mizuka and the disposing of all the other demons, except like the two that we know, and possibly 4 if those other soldier demons actually do get the evil blood in them from those 2 kids. So yeah, we cut back to Gracefield House where we see Peter Atari being informed of everything that's going on, and that the disposal of those who received the evil blood have been complete, just as you ordered, sir. And he's there, like, he's pondering his face, like, because he doesn't. I get the feeling that he doesn't believe that all of them were captured. I get the feeling that he feels that some have actually escaped. As we see, oh no, we do see Sonju and Mizuka. Okay, so I apologise, we do see them again. They say Sonju and Mizuka will be executed today, as we see them tied up, basically on display for everyone to see their execution. And yeah, that's the last time we see them for this chapter. And yeah, I'm kind of like iffy about whether or not they'll survive or not, but we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, Peter continues on to say, good job. With this, there is no one amongst them who will threaten the farm system. Yeah, Peter, you really should think things through, because no, it's not his forces. It's not him that says this. I believe it's his forces. It's like, goes on to say, with this there is no one amongst them who will threaten the farm system. Yes, there is kind of 2 that are still out there, and possibly 4, like I said, if those demon soldiers actually do get the blood. Peter goes on to say, now that all that remains is the escape, as he puts on, like, basically, I'm going to call this version of Peter the Johann version, because he's like Johann Liebert from Monster, just like calm, collective, and he's a blonde guy as well. He's blonde. So yeah, blonde guy who has this creepy smile and is calm, collective, but can snap at any moment. Yeah, he's basically turning into Johann Liebert here, as he smiles at the kids in Gracefield House who are all still tied up. But except for one of them, which is Nate, as he just like cuts his ropes and unties him, and they're all just standing there completely in fear of Peter Atari at this point, as he goes on to say, aren't you glad? They were alive. Norman, Emma, Ray, and the others from your family. They're not just alive, they're doing very well. They even attacked the Imperial capital and killed the Queen and associates. Wow, I'm surprised to think that they'd even do that. Yeah, and he's probably, yeah, he's like at this, you lying little shithead. You lied to me. So, even though he's putting on like this cheery persona, it's kind of like in the back of his head, he's probably thinking, you lying little shit. Now tell me the truth. What is going on here? And the smile that he gives off to Nate is actually just like creepy. It's like, you're going to tell me what happens right now. And at first I was like, wait, what? But then when I look down, it's like, so basically what Peter did is just go, let's just go, well, I'm surprised to think they never do that. And he just like with a split second just goes like and just breaks Nate's finger, and Nate's middle finger, yeah, he breaks Nate's middle finger, so it's just like, and it's just like, Nate's just like, oh, and I was like, holy shit! And everyone's just like, Nate! And this is why we see Peter just like get more sort of Annie Wilkes from Misery than Johann Weber. Like Annie had this kind of like nice persona that she pulled off, but when things didn't go away, she basically went ballistic. And it's kind of like what Peter's doing here when he goes, "You lied to me! You blatantly lied, you naughty boy! Didn't Mama teach you that you're not supposed to lie?" I'm sorry, guys. I best not do that in case my voice actually goes at this point. But that's basically what he's doing. Like, he's putting on this nice persona, and then as soon as he like wants to show them who's boss, he basically just like rips into his emotions and basically has no qualms with harming them right there on the spot. But that's not enough for Peter. Oh no. As Nate as everyone is basically being scared of Peter retiring at this point, like, oh my god. Oh no. So this is after the finger being broken. Everyone is just getting like scared of just how powerful the scream from Nate is actually coming on, as he goes on to say that it's okay. Everyone, I'm okay. But of course, Peter sees right through it, sees it as ruse. He's like, don't, Nate, don't try to be brave. That looks really painful. And Peter just basically like, holy shit, man. He basically, Nate's broken finger, his built, and it's just like crushing over it as Nate just screams to the heavens, which I can't blame it at this point. And Anna just tries to get Peter to stop with this. And he's like, don't worry. I don't care about a little injury anymore. The aristocrats who cared about their products being perfect were already killed by your friends. Now you understand, right? No more lies. Answer my next question. You guys made a new promise. As he looks down on them like, you guys made a new promise, didn't you? And again, he goes back into his like calm, collective mode at this point. It's like, that is even more scary than like Annie Wilkes is actually even more scarier when he's calm and collective rather than when he's screaming like a madman. And you're like, Peter with this persona, like this is the persona that I love from major villains, where they're just like calm and collective, but that is even more scary when they're actually going ballistic because you don't know what they're actually thinking deep down inside them. Peter goes on to say, you were trying to make a new promise, right? As we get a flashback from Emma saying, we're about to make a new promise by finding the 7 walls, as he goes, did you? And that flashback is from when was from when they were having that conversation with Andrew at the beginning of the arc. But that's besides the point. Peter goes on to say, if so, what kind of promise? What does it have to do with the attack on the royal capital? Or did you attack the capital because you couldn't make a new promise? And to show just how evil Peter is, like just how evil, he cuts the ropes that are holding on to Jemima and just basically grabs her and basically has her by knife point at this point, but still maintains his like calm collective persona, but that just like that evil twitch of like, I'm gonna snap at this moment. As Nate and everyone's just like, Jemima, and Jemima's just like shivering in fear, and Peter's like, okay, I choose you. You answer. You better not give me the wrong answer this time. And Anna just like bawls her eyes out, and it's like, me. And that's where the chapter ends. Now I don't know what Anna means by me, but more, I think it's more like, just take me, please take me, not Jemima, take me. I feel like that's what she's trying to give off at this point. But anyway, those were all 3 of the remaining chapters. We're up to date, guys. We finally got there. Now, in terms of this chapter, really like holy shit moments from Peter. Like, it shows Peter is not fucking around in any way, and shows that and shows just how like he has been built up. He is built up since his first appearance of just like being established as the main antagonist of this series. And now that we're in the final arc, now we're in the final home straight, he's finally come out on form and shown just how ruthless he can be. Like not just to adults, but also to children. Like. You think Isabella was ruthless for breaking Emma's leg? Like, yeah, She didn't break Emma's leg and then just stomp on it like with just like some sick pressure and then threaten to kill one of the children at knife point, thinking like, if you don't tell me what it is, I'm gonna fucking slit this kid's throat. And she's like, and just like you can just feel the evilness oaring off of just like Peter's like just sick sadistic smile, and it's just ugh. But anyway, guys, what did you think of these chapters? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and this will be Lush Luke signing off. Later, guys!